I have to think of this one time that it's a rich Emirati lady who was living in Amsterdam as an apartment, probably for a couple of months a year in Amsterdam, and she was very interested in this piece of work, and it was a fair price, so I was very interested in selling it. But in order to do so, I had to jump through hoops.
What does it really take to connect to art collectors and get them to buy high value pieces? This is Rahul from Artist Life Hacks and V Patina. I speak to Sebastian Ripson, a curator at Gallery WM in Amsterdam, and Steve Smith, a lecturer in photography at Neskol Aberdeen, to find out.
Sure. Can I ask then, in terms of, if I kind of jump right in there in terms of commercial practice, what's the kind of percentage of sales in respect of people coming into the space? Are the larger proportion of sales from a client list that engage with footfall to the gallery, or do you have a strong online commercial business with the gallery? Do people buy through the internet, or are you selling to people from your locale, from your location?
A very good question. We should actually have a much better presence on the internet, and especially commercially speaking. I do believe that, and Rahul is in fact trying to help me out as much as he can. Poor guy. But no, our sales are mostly, I would say, in terms of percentage, maybe 5% is sold online or via online somehow, whereas 95% will be sold through the locale, through the physical space. And in terms of our client list, collectors, if you will, and just random public, I would say it's around 50-50. I think it should probably be skewed much more towards that client list, which would mean that I do my job better than I do. But I would say that we've got a couple of collectors, who don't buy very expensive works, but they do buy, moderately priced, reasonably priced works on a regular basis. So that kind of makes up the 50% of our sales. And then we've got random people coming in, because we are in our physical space is in a very good location in Amsterdam. It's a location with a lot of traffic, and not car traffic, which is foot traffic, pedestrians and so forth, a lot of tourists. So I've also got tourists that come in and buy weird pieces of artwork, which is also great.
Brilliant.
And when you use the word sale, you make it sound so much simpler than it always is, because sometimes I hear conversations with you about what you have to go through to to deliver the product that the collector wants. It's
no, I have to think of this one time that it's a rich Emirati lady who was living in Amsterdam as an apartment, probably for a couple of months a year in Amsterdam, and she was very interested in this piece of work, and it was a fair price, so I was very interested in selling it. But in order to do so, I had to jump through hoops. I had to go over to her house with a hammer, nails, of a bore, rearrange her other artworks that I'd not sold her, but she had, from wall to wall, in order to get the best position for the artwork that she'd bought. I think I went back like 3 times because she just kept on calling me. I was kind of on call to do manual labor, basically. It was fun. I had a lot of fun doing it, because you get into houses that you'd never get in, if you didn't. But I do have a lot of work to sell a piece. Usually it's people that are very finicky about all kinds of little things. Yeah, but what about this and what about that?
I'm guessing that a lot of that is to convince the buyer of the profile of the artist. Would that be the case? To really sell the work, you really have to sell the artist first.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's whenever I'm talking with an artist about selling work, obviously that question comes up every time, every exhibition. And some artists are professional and have settled careers, and basically they're in a good place, so they don't need that much support, let's say, in that they know how it works. But one of the things I talk about with the artists that are perhaps a bit more insecure about selling and pricing and stuff like that is that, well, basically, I mean, an artwork is great on its own, and that's, it should speak. That is the piece that actually should do the work. In fact, we're just kind of window dressing. You make it, I try to, I exhibit it, I curate it, I try to sell it, but the work itself should actually speak. But that being said, people love a story. People love a story. When they have a cocktail hour or whatever at their house, and there's an artwork hanging on their wall, they want to be able to talk about it. They want to, they want somebody to say, the other cocktail drinker to say, hey, what's that? Where'd you get, what is that? And they want to be able to tell a story. So basically, it is about telling stories. It's, and even with the buying and the selling, they love to be able to tell a story how they got it. Like, I was, whether it's a tourist, for example, I was walking through Amsterdam where got into a small gallery, met this guy and blah, blah, blah. He told me a story about the art, and exactly, you do sell the artist as well, because it's
such a beautiful analogy, really. Because we work in the kind of visual narrative anyway, so that I like that analogy, because commerce is often seen as kind of a brutal, hard, cold sale. Right. So I like that. I like it. It gives me a little bit of faith somewhere that the work takes a new meaning and a new narrative in terms of the presentation to the collector or the buyer. And I like the fact that it's a vehicle for more engagement, and I like that. That sounds really nice.